What's up YouTube? For today's video, we're a full gym leader Milo team. Now, I'm not talking about the drink Milo, I'm talking about the gym leader Milo. Now, I shall be using gym leader Milo's Pokemon, his exact Pokemon, and his exact moves that he uses in the games. Now, I'm thinking about making this into a little mini-series and covering all the gym leaders as well, you know, week by week. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoy these same teams, people, that like button is not going to hit itself. And without further ado, let's get into the battles. I've got two battles today, and they were really, really good. This was a battle against Beto. I'm not sure how you say that. Is it Beto or Beto? I'm not sure. Comment section roast me. So, we're actually on the Dragon Stadium today, and we've got a Cinderace lead. Now, this team is actually really hard countered by Fire-type Pokemon and really walled by Steel-type too. So it's actually a real challenge. I'm once again using the exact moves that the gym leader had. So we got C-Bomb, Waterfall, Fake Out, and Body Slam. Now the EVs I'm running on Ludicolo, right? Ludicolo is max attack and max speed. So I've got on this one, Jolly Nature, obviously, for a little bit more speed, and the rest in attack. So I went for the Fake Out there. Does a little bit of damage, I guess. Oh, the items I ran. I actually ran some custom items on there for a bit of fun, so I gave it scope lens. So we got Gunk Shot coming from Cinderace. It misses, thank goodness. And Waterfall is going to hit the Cinderace pretty hard. That Pineapple, like, flew up the Waterfall, like, real quick then. So hoping the trash bin is actually going to miss me. Actually, it's not a trash bin anymore. It's sort of just like a bowl of gunk. Oh, that's why it's called Gunk Shot. Anyway, so I'm going to hit by the Gunk Shot, and Ludicolo is going to go down, unfortunately. But you know what? That was actually really good, that first Gunk Shot miss, because that has actually put Cinderace in range of going down to a Fake Out. So now we're going to bring in Shiftry here. Now we've got the, I put both the Sword and Shield exclusives in this team to make up the whole 6 Pokemon. Otherwise, I would have been using only 5 if it was from like one version. All right, so go for that Fake Out, and Cinderace is down. Man, that Gunk Shot was really, really good. That put it in range to take it out. So a big threatening Pokemon is now out the way, and it's given me a good chance to actually stay in the battle. All right, so we got the Toxtricity low-key swapping in. I mean, it's in low-key form anyway. Now, I've got on this one a Leaf Blade, Throat Chop, Fake Out, and Body Slam. I noticed some of the sets are like very similar to all the other, Pokemon too. So we got Throat Chop here, hoping it goes for a sound-based move, but it's a physical set. I'm like, oh no! And Poison Jab hits me really hard. And of course, guys, just to top things off, it poisons me as well. I mean, we couldn't have it just with a physical set. We had to have it with a poison as well. So I've got one more turn to do something. I'm sort of like thinking about, should I go for a different move? Are they going to swap here, or should I just go for Throat Drop? Decide to go for the Throat Drop there. They're going to stay in, thank goodness, and Toxtricity is low-key going to faint, and so is my Shiftry. So we have a double KO at the start of the battle, and it's very even. So my Ludicolo's down, and so is my Shiftry, and we got the Cinderace and the Toxtricity down. So it's a solid 4-all at the moment, but a pretty interesting battle so far. So now we're going to bring in the Cherrim. So on this team, right, there was a couple of Pokemon that worked around having the sun on the field. Now, Corviknight, as I was talking about at the start of the battle, Steel-type Pokemon really, really counter me. So I had to play some, I had to play this thing pretty close to the chest, people. So we're going to be going into Eldegoss here. Now, Eldegoss is pretty much here just to sponge like a Brave Bird or take a little bit of recall damage from Corviknight. And I do live that one, but obviously not very well. And Corviknight doesn't really take a lot of recall damage there either. Now, the items I put in this one were the leftovers as well. We'll go on to the Cherrim set a little bit more as the battle goes on. So we've got Giga Drain, Cotton Guard, Protect, and Hyper Voice. Now, also, the rule was in these battles, I was only allowed to Dynamax or G-Max the Pokemon, that the gym leader did. So that was sort of the rule there. I wasn't allowed to do anything outside of that, which sometimes made it very, very difficult. So obviously my Eldegoss is not going to be able to withstand a Corviknight. And now we're going to go into Blossom. So I had to take some big sacrifice here. I had to set the Scummy Day up. I mean the Sunny Day. Now Sunny Day was very important, right? Because Cherrim actually had Weather Ball. Weather Ball was my only answer to taking out any Steel-type Pokemon or just generally, injuring them. A lot of the time it wasn't a one-hit KO, especially with something like Corviknight. Corviknight is very bulky, right? It's sort of like the Skarmory of Gen 8. Anyway, so I've got no moves to it. I've got Solar Beam, Sludge Bomb, and Moonblast. I am completely countered here, and my options are very, very limited. So I thought, okay, let's just go for Solar Beam. It doesn't really matter what I go for. They're all going to do like donkey's worth of damage. If I can maybe get like 1 or 2 hits off on it, maybe like a bit of Brave Bird recall too, I might be able to bring Cherrim in and maybe take it out with the Weather Ball, maybe something like that. That was like my only hope at the moment. So now we're going to Brave Bird coming for the Corviknight. I'm like, okay, that's fine. That's all good. Blossom's going to get hit by that, and I live on 10 health, which is really good. So I do take some nice recall on the Corviknight too. Now, I was like, okay, I'll go for another Solar Beam here. I'll do a little bit of damage, and that should be enough, right, for the Cherrim to come in and almost, or should do some pretty nice damage there with the Weather Ball. So go for another Solar Beam. Solar Beam looks really cool as well. Solar Beams always look really good in its animations. So that does about 1 damage to Corviknight, and Corviknight, instead of going for Roost, goes for her Iron Head. So they're probably definitely, most certainly underestimating like what moves I got on my other Pokemon. So we're sort of really in dire straits now. I've only got 2 more Pokemon left, and they've got 4 left. So it's 2-4 at the moment. Just remember that. So we got the Flower Gift kicking in, turning me into the Cherrim Sunny form, which is fairly offensive. So on this one, I've got Weather Ball, as I've been saying before. My only answers are Steel types. Going for the Weather Ball there. Now, what this does with the Sunny Day on the field, that turns it into a Fire type move, 100 base power, and Corviknight is going to go down. So we got rid of the Steel type Pokemon, which is like super good there. So man, I'm hanging on by a thread here. So we've got 3 more Pokemon left. I've got 2 more Pokemon left. And you guys can obviously guess what my last Pokemon is as well. I'm sure you've beaten this Stimulator 69 times. So Como comes in, but fortunately for me, this thing pats Dazzling Gleam on the gym leaders once. So like, if I go for Dazzling Gleam, this should body this thing. So I outspeed, which is really good there. I pop my Dazzling Gleam, and Como gets absolutely obliterated. So that's another Pokemon down. Man, Cherrim is like, is bringing me into this battle. I mean, man, these little cherries, man, you got to try them. You got to pop them cherries. All right, so Flower Gift is going to round out because the sun's gone, which is a little bit unfortunate, but there's not a lot I can do there. Obviously, I can't fire Solar Beams in 1 turn either. Like a lot of my, 2 of my Pokemon had Solar Beam, which is very handy for the sun on the field. All right, so out comes Gastrodon. Now, at the start of this battle, I thought, okay, well, Gastrodon, right, is not going to be much of a problem. Like, I've got all these Grass-type Pokemon. What's Gastrodon going to be able to do? But you'll see. So we got Gastrodon, Dynamax Pokemon. This was the last Pokemon I thought that would be Dynamaxing on the team. Like, real talk, people. Like, I had all these grass types. Anyway, so we got a big Gastrodon here. Now, Gastrodon is 4 times weak to grass, right? So it's like, okay, well, even if it's Dynamax, is like, whatever I do to it's going to be like, do a lot of damage, right? So going for that Sunny Day to start things off with, I wanted to like power down any sort of like water type moves it would try and use if it had to, right? There wasn't really like, you know, a huge chance of that happening. Plus, I wanted to put the Flower Gift and turn myself into my more offensive form. So we got Max Ooze coming from the crazy Gastrodon here, and it's going to give it a +1 in special attack. So that's going to make it a lot more offensive. Gastrodon's not really a hugely offensive Pokemon, it's like more bulky, right? So I can go for a Solar Beam here, hit this thing, and this should almost take it out. Like, even it's 4 times weakness, it still has a lot of health. I go for the Solar Beam, right? I'm absorbing that light, my little flowers, bringing in I was going to say a word starting with S then, but I'm not. And it's going to have a Rindo Berry. Rindo Berry is going to really power down that damage. And Gastrodon is going to be able to eat that one and live it up. So it's going to go for a Max Guys here. And that's going to not do very much damage to me. But if you notice, right, the Max Guys is actually going to put the rain on the field. It's going to get rid of the sun, right? And I will not be able to use Solar Beam right away. And plus my form will change too. So all I can really do is attack it with like a neutral Dazzling Gleam or something like that, or a Weather Ball, which is not going to do much either, and it probably will absorb it. So I'm going to go for a sticky here. Should I go for Sunny Day or Dazzling Gleam? I was like, okay, I've got a grass type move on my other Pokemon, right? I should be able to take that out in 1 shot. That shouldn't be a problem. I don't really, I'd probably prefer having the Sunny Day on the field than, like, you know, it raining. So I decided to go for the Sunny Day again instead of attacking. Dazzling Gleam would have done absolutely nothing, all right? It just wouldn't have helped this at all. So putting that sun on the field, getting rid of the rain, and the Flower Gift is going to kick back in there. I know this is probably going to go for another, I'm guessing it's a Sludge Bomb there, but I went for a Max Hailstorm. I'm like, oh, here we go. So, man, look at that hail. Poor Cherrim, man. It just got squashed by... Have you guys ever been out in the hail, right? And, like, you got hit by hail and it actually really hurt? Like, I know it doesn't... Like, you can roast me because it doesn't, like, rain so much in Australia and hail, but, like one day, like, I get hit by, like, a hail and, like, it's super hurt. It wasn't the size of a golf ball, but, you know, it was the size of, like, a little marble. You know, this little marble you play. Anyway, so Gastrodon is going to go small again, which has never happened to me. And we got 1 more Pokemon left, being my Appletun. Now, Appletun is going to have to get through Gastrodon and another Pokemon. So what I'm going to do here, people, is finally we're going to have a G-Spot Apple there. Now, the idea of this set was it's got the same moves. Now, the EVs, I didn't mention the EVs of this thing. I've got Max Health and Max Special Defense. So we had Iron Defense on this set, right? So I thought, I might be able to like make this like super bulky because it does have recover as well and iron defense. You guys probably know this from the gym leader battle, and it's got 2 offensive moves, which is Apple Acid as of Dragon Pulse as well. So that's pretty nice, and you can just keep dropping the opponent's special defense too with Apple Acid. So go for my G-Max move there, and there is no way the Gastrodon is going to be able to live those little... Sort of, what were they? They weren't tomatoes, were they? Anyway, it's going to go down to a tomato, and we've got one more Pokemon left. I'm in my G-Max form there, but it is hailing, which is unfortunate. Now, the ability on this one is Thick Fat, as you guys already know, so that's actually going to come in like very, very handy. So out comes Milotic. Now, Milotic is usually a very bulky Pokemon. It does have some reasonable offense to it, and I'm pretty sure an Ice Beam is coming my way. So obviously going for a Grass type move, and that's going to be, I was estimating about a 2-hit KO. Ice Beam is going to do donkeys there, which is really good. Now I've got one more turn after this of my G-Max, and then on my Apple is going to go small again. So I'm going to sort of have to start making a plan here. So I know Milotic, obviously it outspeeds him, right? Could most definitely possibly go for a recover, like be able to tank the next attack and just keep using recover until my G-Max wears off, and then my Apple Acid is going to be a lot weaker at the start, and maybe they'll try and take me out there. However, I'm going to go for another one, hoping it works. I get the Quick Claw right at the end of the battle. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I had a Quick Claw Appleton, and Milotic is going to go down, and we clutch that victory. Damn, that was such a good battle. Like I was in such a bad position at the start, like 2-4 down, a lot of counters, and we come back and clutch there right there. And thank you for the battle, Beto, if you ever see this this battle on YouTube. And GG, but man, that was definitely the best battle that I had with this team all day. Let's get on to the second battle. This is a battle against Axeman, and this was a really, really long battle. You will not believe the amount of cuts I had to make in this. This was originally, I think it was 28 sort of like minutes, but like I had to cut like everything out to make it a lot smaller. All right, so we got a Beware lead. I'm starting off with my Ludicolo. Now this is a matchup I really never expected to win, right? I just wanted to put the Beware down into like a lower amount of health. So we're going to flinch it there. I'm going to go for a Waterfall here, hoping I can get a flinch against the Beware. Now I'm guessing Beware will probably... It possibly one-shot me with a normal type move, but it went for a Hammer Arm instead, and Hammer Arm does a lot of damage to me, but it's not going to take me out. Ludicolo's got a little bit of bulk to it, so that's fine. One more Hammer Arm will take me out. I was hoping maybe I could get maybe a crit or a flinch with Waterfall. I get a crit, right? Which was nice, and then I got a flinch on one Waterfall, so nothing better than a crit and a flinch on one attack. So go for another Waterfall there, the little pineapple's traveling up the Waterfall, and then Beware is going to pop a rest. Oh, no. And I was like, okay, it's either going to run like a PIMPNITE sleep rest talk meme and get rest every single time, or they're going to have a Chesto Berry, and they're going to have a Chesto Berry instead. Of course. So, we're back to square one here. I can't have like a free fake out damage or anything. I've got to go for Waterfall. Waterfall is going to do donkeys, and now it's going to go for Revenge. So Revenge is going to easily take out Ludicolo. There's nothing I could have done there. I didn't want to swap into any of my other Pokemon either because... you know, some of them weren't like very bulky either. So I thought, okay, let's go into Blossom. Oh, I forgot to tell you what my Blossom's item was. The item was Expert Belt. So that's going to power up super effective attacks. And I thought, this is like a prime opportunity to go like send this bear to the moon with the Expert Belt. And Beware goes down in one hit. It gets absolutely bodied. I know they weren't expecting that. I know they weren't expecting to get one shot of there. Okay, so Blossom was really, really handy in this battle, and it did such an amazing job. So we got Escu coming out here. You guys are probably thinking, well, you know, Escu is like a really, really solid counter to, you know, Blossom here being like an ice type. A very, very good Pokemon. So I went for the Sunny Day here, right? So, okay, if I can get the Sunny Day up, I might be able to pop off like some Solar Beams. And then Escu goes for a Hail. I'm like, oh, here we go. We're going to have some Weather Wars. So the sun goes up, so the sun's out, the guns are out, but then a Hail, so... man, the guns aren't going to be out in the hail, right? They're going to be like under like a jumper or some shit. Anyway, so we got the hail going. I thought, what should I do here? Should I go for a Moonblast? Should I go for a Sunny Day again? Should I try and troll this guy? Should I go for another Sunny Day? My troll senses were tingling, so I went for another Sunny Day. I was hoping I could, you know, withstand water attack this thing threw at me maybe for one turn and maybe hit it with like a big Solar Beam. At the moment, it's not its most offensive turn. They went for an Aura Veil and got trolled because the sun is not up, man. The guns are out again. So we can go now for a Solar Beam and get around this Pokemon. I knew that it wouldn't take it out in one shot, but I was like, this should do some like really good damage. It should be a solid 2-hit KO coming from Blossom. I'm obviously not going to get a power boost either from the, you know, Expert Belt, but I still got some good damage. So Escu is a clear 2-hit KO, and now Escu is going to set up the Hail again. So it's like, okay, Are they really going to try and get another Aura Veil, or are they going to attack me this turn? Man, that's a big hail. Look at those hail pieces. I've only just noticed that after playing like Sword and Shield for like 69 years. All right, so we're going to go for another sunny day here. I do not want this thing to get a Aurora Veil up at all, because that's going to make all the Pokemon, you know, really, really bulky. And that also means, too, I can go for a Solar Beam if I'm able to withstand this Ice Seal Crash. So we got Escu firing that Ice Seal Crash at me, and that's going to do a lot of damage to my Blossom. But I do tank it, which is nice. So now Escu's got, like, this is really pressuring Escu, because Escu's going to have to, like, I actually force an Escu to swap with a Blossom. That was crazy. Like, you don't see that one every day. So this was the hard Pokemon to get past. This was the Aegislash. So, as you people know, in the first battle, we really sort of struggled against a Corviknight. When you compare these two, they're very, very similar. They're very bulky, steel type Pokemon. Aegislash also had leftovers as well, and had like it's got an offensive form and it's got like a shield form. So it's not a Pokemon that's going to be very, very easy for this team to get around. So I thought the best thing I can really do here is fight, once again, the same little deal with the Corviknight. I could fire off as many Solar Beams as humanly possible there, and, put this thing on a lower amount of health to come in with a Weather Ball. And the problem was, like leftovers and King Shield, they kept protecting. It was basically like a protect, and obviously it's going to have Shadow Sneak to take out my Blossom. There was nothing I could have done here. I had to just sort of like just let it go. I was singing a little. You know what? I should have sang "Let It Go" when the hail was falling, if you know what I mean. Man, I can't believe I didn't think of that. So we got the Aegislash there. He's going to have some more leftovers recovery. And pretty much Blossom didn't dent it at all. It's going to like be able to heal back. So I thought, okay, what are my options here? The only real thing I can do here is go for Iron Defense, set up on this thing with that, and then try and go for Apple Acid and drop Aegislash's special defense, right? And just keep hitting it over and over, and eventually I should be able to take it out, right? So it's got King Shield, we know that. It's got Shadow Sneak, we know that already. So we've seen those moves already. I was wondering, like, what its other moves were. So we're going to go for Iron Defense there. That's going to give me a +2 in defense. I'm going to be very, very bulky now. Like, they would have to hit me with an extremely hard hit, or, crit me or something like that, or have a way of boosting their attack, like a Sword Dance on Aegislash, for example. So now we got the Aegislash changing its stance here, and what it's going to do is it's going to go for our Iron Head. So it's like, okay, so now we know what 3 moves it's got, right? There's only one other move, and I reckon it would have used Sword Dance already if it seen me using Iron Defense, right? It would have had to use Sword Dance. So I'm going to drop its special defense there with the Apple Acid. Even though it's not very effective, that's going to be very, hitting reasonably hard the next turn, especially when it goes back into its Blade Form, because Blade Form is very offensive, right? Its defenses are basically garbage. Now, Aegislash is going to go for another King Shield. This, I also want to say too, right? I also have to say this. This person's almost spent the maximum amount of time in between turns just to go for King's, at least the King's Rock there. King Shield, literally every turn was I waited so long for them just to make a simple move, right? It was super, super tiring. Anyway, so they finally swap out Aegislash, knowing they obviously can't beat me, which was, obviously apparent before that. They had also had Automize as the last move too, so that made up all 4 of their moves, so I knew it was safe. So Hydreigon's going to come in here. It's going to take minimal, obviously minimal damage then from Apple Acid, but the main thing is that I started to think the only way for them to take me out would be for a Dynamax Hydreigon. So on this turn, I decided to go for the G-Spot as well, and, it was going to be a battle off the Dragons. Now, I had the advantage, right, because I was more bulky, plus I also dropped Hydreigon's special defense by 2 prior to it actually, Dynamaxing. So that was going to be a really, really good thing for me. Even though I didn't have any EVs and special attack at all, I knew that I'd obviously drop this one in one shot. And I knew that I'd be able to withstand it as well, because Appleton's obviously, it's a very, very bulky Pokemon as well. Alright, so we're going to turn into a big apple there. I probably should have used my... I thought about using some of my shinies in here, but I thought, no, the gym lady didn't have a shiny one. I won't use the shinies either, right? So now we got obviously a Max Whirlwind coming from the Hydreigon, whether it come off Draco Meteor, which I thought it would, or Dragon Pulse there. It's going to do a lot of damage to me, but it definitely doesn't, almost take me out there. I lived that one fairly well. So now I'm going to go for my own Max Whirlwind there, and Hydreigon is not going to be able to withstand that one, and it is going down. Their team at the moment was a pretty dang good team. When you compare it to mine, it was a lot better. So I pretty much had to make all these plays count, right? Especially when I was in Dynamax, because this was this is probably one of my more powerful Pokemon. So now we've got the SQ coming in. I know what they're thinking straight away. Let's go for an Ice Wheel Crash and let's take this out. The problem about that is this thing has thick fat, which obviously powers down fire and ice type moves. A lot of the time I reckon, especially on this Pokemon, thick fat is actually better in a lot of ways than Ripen. Like, you might, in my opinion, a lot, like competitively, I reckon it's a lot better because it really makes up for that weakness, right? So Esco is going to go down there. Obviously, they've figured out now that, damn son, this guy's got thick fat that did nothing. And now Inteleon is going to come out here. So I was like, okay, what's Inteleon going to be able to hit me with? Like, the most I could really think here was an Ice Beam. And, that was it. That's pretty much all I could think that it was going to hit me with. So I went for my Grass type move anyway. Once again, it goes for the Ice Beam there. I hang on 6 health. Man, that was crazy. And now we're going to go for a G-spot, a sweet G-spot. And Inteleon, man, he ain't going to like them apples. He's going to be going down in one shot. So, man, we've absolutely clutched here. We've taken out some really powerful Pokemon too. All that's left now is the Aegislash. And they have got, I will say this because you guys didn't get to see this, they have got a Appleton left as their last Pokemon. So Appleton, I've got an Appleton still, and I've got, I've got a couple of other Pokemon as well. So Aegislash is obviously going to come in here. I thought, okay, this is it, people. They're definitely going to go for a Shadow Sneak out. Their plays have been fairly obvious. They're going to go for a Shadow Sneak out. Then I was thinking, I was banking on them going for a King Shield after this. Obviously, they didn't want to, they were maybe worried that, I could take them out in their Blade form. Will Ironhead take me out as well? That sort of thing I was thinking would be running through the head. So I thought, let's go for a sunny day here, set that up, then go for the Weather Ball, and I'll be able to outspeed, obviously, the Aegislash when it's in its, when obviously after its stance change, right? And that should do a lot of damage to it. So they went for the King Shield, obviously, there. Now, this was my opportunity to take this Aegislash out. It had been a thorn in my side. Basically, it had been holding their team together. Like, if they didn't have Aegislash, this battle would have been over a very, very long time ago. So now we're going to get the Flower Gift kicking in there, and I'm going to go into my little sunny form. It's dancing, people. I love how it dances. It's such a big change. So you sort of got this like super like just I don't know like a plain design flower. Then you got like a little dancing flower coming out of it. So go for the Weather Ball there. It does a massive amount of damage, but Aegislash's base bulk actually saves it there. Now they're going to go for Automize. That's all 4 of their moves now, so they clearly don't have like anything to boost their attack at all. So now they enter a big predicament here. We've got 3 minutes left on the battle. They have to take a lot more Pokemon left. They're on their last legs at the moment. So now they're going to keep going for King Shield. They were really consistent on keep going for King Shield like every single time to get that left edge recovered, like every single damn time. So Aegislash is going to get a little bit more health back. They're really trying to like hang on here and try and take me out. I went for the Weather Ball here. I know they're definitely going to go for an Iron Head here. I was like, okay, I should be able to maybe just lift this Iron Head and take them out. They went for the Iron Head. I lived on 1 health, but they flinched me. You can't make this stuff up, guys. You cannot make this stuff up. Oh, that was so lucky. Like, that was the luckiest part in the whole battle for them. Like, I played that perfectly there. Unfortunately, RNG really messed me up. There was nothing I could have done. And now, obviously, Aegislash is going to go for another King Shield, get more leftover recovery back. And then the next turn, they're going to go for a Shadow Sneak and take my Cherry Mount. Now, the only problem with that was they took so long to make their damn turn. Like, look how long it took them. They're going to go for a Shadow Sneak. I've still got 3 more Pokemon left, right? So that's my 3rd Pokemon down. Now I've got Appleton left, and I've still got 2 other Pokemon too. They've only got 1 other Pokemon left, which is the Appleton. But I've got a lot more Pokemon. So we're down to the last 30 seconds here. I know that I can take Aegislash out with my Shift Tree. I thought for a sec, okay, they're probably going to go for an Iron Head because we only have 14 seconds left. So I'll just go for Throat Chop. I'll be able to live that one. Normally under these circumstances, I would have gone for Fake Out, predicting their King Shield. So I went for Throat Chop. I was like, let's go. Let's see if I can take this one out. Instead of attacking me, they went for a King Shield. And maybe they did that because they didn't want to have like such a low score or lose 1-0 or something like that. But that was pretty much the game there. Clearly, I would have won there in the end if the time went for a bit longer. But, man, that was a crazy battle there. And my team did really well. Like, those Pokemon there were no joke. Like, they weren't playing games. They were good Pokemon. Especially the first, those first 4 Pokemon. All right, people, that's pretty much it for this battle. The timer is going to run out there. Thank you, Axeman, for the battle. And, man, you took so long to make your moves. Holy shit. All right, people. Peace out.